long before I really had a word for what I really solve as a stylist, which is that embodiment gap that you talked about. And just to give people insight into what that is, it is the space between your internal evolution and how you're being received and perceived externally. And so when there's no alignment there, that is the gap. When I stood back and I looked at my wardrobe, it looked like a whole bunch of cute outfits. It didn't look like a cohesive image of someone that you want to follow.
It's like, oh, every time it reminds me I have to lose weight to fit into this jeans. Just get rid of it. Down the line, if you really want it, if you do lose the weight, then you'll purchase them again.
Yes, I definitely tell people wear your best items now, no matter what your weight is. If you go down, up, down, and fluctuate. But also, you don't necessarily need to throw it away.
You said try to get rid of the things that don't serve you. Maybe if it's sentimental, of course, try to hold on to those.
Absolutely.
So kind of like editing our things. Hi, I'm Yegi. I'm an entrepreneur and success coach who wants it all. Family, luxury, career, and the freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want. And I'll do whatever it takes to get there. I created the Yegi Project to document my journey and inspire others to do the same. My mission is to change the world by influencing and leading others to do what they love and live fulfilled lives. Hello. Welcome back to the Yegi Project. Today's guest is Bria Johnson, who is a master of style. And the reason why I'm excited to interview her today is because a lot of times we tend to be somebody else inside, and it's hard for us to represent that on the outside. We can be this goal-driven, go-getter woman, but when somebody looks at us, they might not quite see that. And we're wondering, where is that gap? So this is called the embodiment gap, and Bria is going to help explain what that is, what that means, and how do we close that gap to show up as our best selves and have other people see us as our best selves.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here, Bria. Please let us know, who are you and what do you do in your own words?
Yes. So, hello, everyone. I am Bria Johnson. I am the founder and chief style strategist of Iconic with Style. And I like to start with kind of like a fun fact so people can know, like, yes, I'm a real person and I'm a little weird.
Yes, let's do it.
So, the little weird thing about me is, I have two super cute cats that I love so much, but I'm also highly allergic to them. They're my baby. I break out in highs over them, but I love them. So that's a little bit
That's true
about
love
me.
right there. Unconditional love.
Isn't that the definition of like no unconditional love? And so I run a premium high end consultancy as an image consultant, and I support women to align their wardrobe with their goals, essentially using their wardrobe as a strategic asset. Because the reality is, we are communicating something when we first meet someone and continuously. So what I do is ensure that what women are communicating is the right thing.
Yes, and absolutely. We've all heard of, don't judge a book by its cover, but unfortunately, we all do. Our first impressions, when we initially, even the half a second glance at somebody, we already form like 100 conclusions about them. Okay, this person is, I don't know, like, they look like they have an office job, or they look like they just, rolled out of bed and they don't care about what they look like. So it's very, very important. And I'm excited to have this conversation with you and see how we can all kind of analyze our own style unofficially and see how we can make improvements. So, but before we jump into that, I do like to ask a random icebreaker question.
Ooh.
So I'm going to pull one out for you. Let's see what we get. All right. This is it. What's your proudest accomplishment? That's a good one.
My goodness. I will say my proudest accomplishment is, I am the oldest of 7 children. And so being the oldest is it's just a unique position to have. Like, you're the test baby and it was like drilled in me. Like,
well, also you're the role model and the one who needs to step up and take care of the younger siblings as well.
And I would say that now, of course, as much as they will act like they don't appreciate my advice. They actually come to me for advice. And so I would say that's honestly my greatest accomplishment. Like I'm huge on family and my siblings are so important to me.
I
I
love
would say
that.
as a personal note, that is what I'm really very proud of.
Secretly, you're very proud of being the big sister.
You know what? I'm never sharing this with them because they're never gonna let me live this down. But as far as professionally, of course, I'm very proud of Iconic with Style. And again, the foundation of it is also family. It was inspired by my nana who is still alive and still fabulous. Iconic is really, I've been styling women for years, and Iconic with Style is really the formalized system of everything I have learned over these years. And the first true lesson I learned about style from my nana was that it wasn't about fashion trends or dollar signs, how much money you have. It was really about dressing in alignment with your potential and making sure that when you show up in the room, you show up like you deserve to be there, no matter what your circumstances are.
I love
Yeah,
that.
we didn't grow up with a lot of money, but that didn't matter, right? And I still showed up like I was meant to be in that room.
Yes, I mean, honestly, you don't need an expensive piece of clothing to really look the part. If you pick the right clothing for your body, type, shape, color, all of that, it will do the job. And that's where you come in.
Yes,
Now,
absolutely.
take us back. You said you've been styling a woman for many years. Can you take us back a little bit? How did you even get started in this industry? And what led you to establishing Iconic with Style?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like long before I really had a word for what I really solve as a stylist, which is that embodiment gap that you talked about. And just to give people insight into what that is, it is the space between your internal evolution and then who you are, how you're being received and perceived externally. And so when there's no alignment there, that is the gap. And so instead of your message being clear, because again, people do make impressions in a tenth of a second. That's fast
Yeah.
as saying your name as soon as people look at you. And so I want to make sure that you are being perceived correctly. And taking it back to how did I get into this? It really did start with this is something I don't talk about often, but I'm starting to now because it is really a foundation of my life. So my mom had put me in a pageant when I think I was one. So because I was
So cute.
it was in the mall. I won. And then what my nana decided to do was take that and be on steroids, and so I was in pageants for the next 18 years, and I will say that experience was really my first interaction with being evaluated before you speak. I know when people
Mm,
think about pageants, they think about performance and putting on a show. But what you learn is you are sending signals on that stage, and the judges are judging you as soon as you walk on the stage. And so that was really my first experience with how are people perceiving me. And the best part about I felt my best in pageants when I did dance because you got to pull me off the dance floor, okay? So let's never go wrong. You got to pull me off. And so when I was in pageant, I felt the best, but I also realized that's when the audience receives me the best, and it was because I was embodying the part of who I was.
yeah, and that's the energy you were putting out. People can
Exactly.
absolutely feel that energy of confidence. And I think
1,000.
for me personally, that's why no matter how tired and I have young kids, no matter how tired I am, when I roll out of bed, I make sure put a little bit of makeup on, wear at least, even if
Yeah.
it's, gym clothes, at least coordinated or I feel kind of cute in it. It makes the world in my mood throughout the day. Like I stand taller, I walk prouder instead of trying to like hide in my hoodie because I feel like I just rolled out of bed.
1,000%. And I mean, it's true too, right? Like even like there are days where I have dress down days. Of course I do. Like I have to clean the house, but anything that I put on, it is embodying
You
what
mean
I
you
need.
don't clean the house in heels?
Yeah, listen. I mean, sometimes when I need to practice a speech that I'm gonna be standing for 40 minutes, the heels will be on, okay, to get the practice. But no, seriously, yes, I hear you. Like whatever it is, just making sure it's in alignment. So as an image consultant, like I feel like the chief style strategist that I am when I'm in polish. That does not mean I'm in heels 24/7. So that does mean my casual looks, they fit my body well. They don't look just sloppy and put together because that is what I need to embody who I am even on the casual days.
Of course, of
Yeah.
course. Now, take us back to your story. So I cut you off
Yes.
right there.
No
So you
worries.
started off with the pageants. That's when you
Yes.
knew, okay, image matters.
Yes.
When I feel confident in the dance, that's when I'm feeling the crowd eating it all
Yes.
up. What happened next? How did you start doing consulting professionally?
Yeah, absolutely. So the reason why that really is the foundation of like why I became an image consultant is because that was my first interaction again with my outward presence being perceived by an audience and being judged. But then what happened was naturally, again, learning from my nana, your girl could put an outfit together. So one thing I could always do was get dressed. But there was a moment when I had my first, what I call a big girl job. I had graduated college and I was a few years out and I had to manage people that were my age and also older than me. And not to mind you, I looked 16 years old. And so it was like, you are not taking me serious because I look 16 years old. But what I realized is obviously I was capable to do the job, right? They hired me. But when I stood back and I looked at my wardrobe, it looked like a whole bunch of cute outfits. It didn't look like a cohesive image of someone that you want to follow. It looks like I was the person you want to be friends with. And then naturally, because I could dress well, people asked me for advice. But then so that
Hmm.
is when I started dressing people on the side and doing styling. But then I realized that the cohesive wardrobe and wardrobe refinement and presence transformation was really important to truly embody who you are, not just one off cue outfits, because that's when you feel like you're performing. And so it was really
Yeah.
about making sure women had a holistic wardrobe that showed and aligned with who they were internally.
Awesome. Honestly, I love that. And I feel like we go through these stages in life, at least for me personally, with just having to rethink. I'm like, okay, who am I? How do I want to dress right now? And I had to change that like clearly when I was pregnant. And then I was in my super mom
Absolutely.
stage. And then now I'm back. This is a perfect time for this podcast because I'm back. I'm like, okay, I got to refigure out my style because my body has changed. My age has changed. I have to figure out my new look. And although sometimes it can feel superstitious, right? We don't want to only focus on looks, but it really does matter. Like you said, it's not
Absolutely.
only about the looks, it becomes who we are and how we present ourselves. We don't want to be not authentic to who we are and just dress fabulous just because we think that's what we should do. So, just to kind of break that down a little bit more for myself and for our listeners, can you kind of take me through a process of what you would do with a client?
Absolutely. And I want to address one thing first, too. One of the sayings, I mean, the people who follow me or listen to me, I am huge on your image is not vanity, it is really strategy. Because regardless
Oh,
if
I
you're
love
one that
that. I love the way you phrase that. It's not vanity, it's really strategy. Yeah.
because the reality is, regardless if we want to own it or not, we are sending a message. What I
Yeah.
just say is, I prefer the message you send to be the right message. And so, because my work is all about closing that gap between who you are internally and what you're presenting externally, my process always starts with what are the goals? What roles are you stepping into? What is the lifestyle? It has to be about the identity. And that's like the process itself is definitely we go through the same framework, but it's different for every single person because all
Of
of our
course.
identities are different. And so we need to start with what is that identity and ground in that. After that, we need to then look into the wardrobe that you currently have. What stays in your wardrobe, but also what needs to be released, which you can imagine can be a very emotional process, right? Depending on did you get this as a gift? When you got that piece, what time in your life it was. And so after we go through the wardrobe and figure out what stays, what needs to be released, we then figure
So
out,
can I ask you, so sorry to cut you off. Let me ask you a follow-up question about what stays and what
yeah.
is released. Because I know a lot of times people have, like you said, it could be difficult letting go of items that may be a memory or they've liked it for a long time. what is your what is few questions that you can help our listeners with that they can ask to determine if this is an item I should keep or I should get rid of? Because I'm personally a big believer of getting rid of stuff that don't serve me
Yeah.
to open up room for things that will help me grow in my current state. Can you help us with that process a
Yeah.
little bit more?
Absolutely. So again, in my process, before when we do the wardrobe reclamation process, there are what I like to call these decision rules. And those decisions rules, they have to deal with, again, who are you, the visibility that you're stepping into, and what is no longer serving you. And that is how we do the what stays and what releases. For
I
those
see.
more emotional pieces, that takes probing questions. Tell me what is making this hard to let go. And then depending on the core of the issue, it then becomes okay, this can stay because of maybe it's something that you received from your grandparent. That's something that you want to keep and not let go. But if it's something that is, I would say you can let go of because it does not fit the current body, it does not fit the current image, then it's easier to release. So it's really getting to that core issue about why are you holding on to this?
And I know a lot of us hold on to clothes that don't fit us. You said that because we're hoping we're going to lose 5, 10 pounds down the
Well,
line.
one thing I can
What do
tell
you think
you,
about those items?
as a woman who, I mean, I am super curvy. I don't know if you can tell I'm sitting down, but I'm a super curvy lady. My weight goes up and down and fluctuates. I have never been the person to say I'm keeping this when I'm losing weight because if I lose it, it's like 1 or 2 pounds. I'm not really.
Let's be realistic with our goals, not just to keep things just to keep it.
Yeah, because I think you should. The thing is, I'm huge on body positivity, and I think no matter what your size is, you deserve to feel beautiful. Period. And so,
Yeah.
I've been.
And I think those items that don't fit us anymore is just holding that negative space in there too. It's like, oh, every time it reminds me I have to lose weight to fit into this jeans,
Exactly.
just get rid of it. Down the line, if you really want it, if you do lose the weight, then you'll purchase them again.
Yes, I definitely tell people wear your best items now, no matter what your weight is. If you go down, up, down, and fluctuate, but also you don't necessarily need to throw it away. You can also get it altered, which I believe in as well too, to keep some items.
That's a great option.
Yeah, absolutely. Highly believe in altering clothing. Yeah,
Awesome. All right. So going back to those questions of what we keep, what we get rid of. You said try to get rid of the things that don't serve you. Maybe if it's sentimental, of course, try to hold on to those.
absolutely.
So kind of like editing our things.
Yeah.
Are there any other rules you want to share with our listeners?
Well, I'd say after we figure out what release, what stays, then of course is like filling in what gaps do we need to fill in. And then after we fill in those gaps, then it's now about integrating your new image in your everyday life. And that just comes, it depends on how quickly we handle change and don't handle change. And with some clients, it's a slower process. So what that looks like is introducing pieces at a time for a length of time. And then others are like, nope, I could do the entire change today. I'm exhausted. I'm ready to do that thing. And so that is really.
Burn it all. Buy me new clothes.
Yes, and this is and another thing that I like, it is a misconception too that you need go out and do a shopping spree. It's less about the volume and it's more about being intentional about what you truly need. It's learning about how do you mix and match your pieces as well too. And so I know a lot of people are like, "Oh my goodness, I need to buy all these clothes." I'm like, "No, you can also buy quality pieces with intention and buy less depending on again what your lifestyle is and what the roles are."
So just to kind of give an example as well, since a lot of our listeners are go-getters who are working on personal development, business development. So
Yeah.
let's assume your client, it could be me, and I am a aspiring leader or CEO, and I want to represent myself as somebody with authority that people will listen to for business advice or for whatever my business is, to have that authoritative figure. But I also want to be comfortable on my day to day life because I have young children and I'm a busy person. So, how would we go about wardrobe? You said it doesn't have to be 100 pieces. I don't have to have everything matching. I can mix and match. Are there any like foundational pieces that you would advise this client to have in their closet or to purchase those foundational pieces that we can work with?
Yeah.
The basics.
Yeah, so this is and I love this question as well too because I think what people typically realize in this moment is although you're a go-getter and you might be on stages, the stages are different. So your stage might not require, let's say, a blazer, right? Like people will think a CEO needs to
Yeah.
wear a blazer.
Yeah.
That's not always the case.
It's not the case anymore. Yeah, in today's day and age, you see really successful CEOs in, slacks and a t-shirt.
And that's why for the work that I do, it is really about the person's identity. It's never going to be the same for any one single person because we are all different. And so
I
that's
love
why
that.
like I can't say like cuz again in my wardrobe for me, what makes me feel powerful are high heel shoes. I work with a
Yeah.
lot of women who don't like high heel shoes. And
Yeah.
so that's why there's no one advice, right? I know a lot of people do this as well too. They say, "What about Prince or not Prince?" Well, again, what is the identity, right? If you
Yeah,
never liked
does it fit you?
exactly.
I love that. Well, then scratch my question because there is no general answer.
Well, yeah,
I guess like the work that you do, it's not just general advice on how to
exactly.
look put together. It's more
Exactly.
specific to identity, to how you want to be represented. And I think that's great for me to clarify for me and our listeners too. So it's more on one basis to really figure out, okay, who am I? Who do I want to show up as for people to perceive me as that person? While staying authentic to my lifestyle, comfort, and
Exactly.
image. And I love that because sometimes it takes time to sit down with somebody and figure that out. Like I said, that we go through different stages in our life and we kind of get stuck with who we used to be even with our wardrobe. So it's nice to have a person we can go to
Yes.
like yourself. I'm like, hey, sit down with me and help me figure out who am
Yeah,
I today and who do I want people to see me as?
exactly. Because this is the thing too, right? Like I have 2 signature packages. My one of my signature packages is 30 days. That's not just a quick turnaround, right?
No, yeah. I mean, if we're building an identity also and clarifying and building a wardrobe for our identity, I could only imagine it at least takes about 30 days. It can't be overnight because a lot of us don't even know. We don't know. Like I'll tell you, I'm a person who takes a lot of time to like think about things. And that's something I haven't even sat down and fully thought through, Okay, what are my clothes saying about me?
Yeah, absolutely. And because this is the thing too, right? Like back to your point about what do I wear to this important meeting? I'm like, well, there are stylists who do that. And if you want a outfit for a specific moment, stylists do that. I am not the stylist who does one-off events. And then also, like we were talking about putting something together, you can go on Pinterest and ask for a cute outfit, right? To invest in me for that. So when you work with a chief style strategist, it is more than just cute outfits. It is and my what I say to everybody is it is about identity, image, and influence in alignment. That is going to
I love
a
that.
lot more deeper work to make sure that we're getting the perfect image for you and uniquely for you.
I love that so
Yeah.
much. Well, thank you so much for clarifying that. I think we needed that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, but it's fair. I mean, and again, there are stylists who will say, I need you if you say I want a outfit for this meeting, there are stylists who do that. Sure.
Honestly, it's even amazing to hear because this is an entrepreneurial podcast. It is amazing to even hear how many different options there are if you love fashion and clothing, how many even
Absolutely.
options there are for you to do what you love in the industry. You don't have like there's so many different versions of styling or jobs or positions that you can fulfill within that field.
I mean, so many. Like I know a lot of stylists that their main service is color analysis, right? Making sure that the colors work for you. There's so many whatever you want to do
It's amazing.
for you. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's amazing. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. I'm sure a lot of our listeners are inspired for that. Even the ones that are just like, what do I do with my life that I'm going to enjoy and love? They don't have to feel like, okay, it's only one option if it's only styling and oh no, I can't find celebrity clients. I'm never going to make it big, right?
Right.
So that misconception, I like to address that with your story and I love that. I love what you're doing.
Yeah, and I think that too. I had a conversation. I was actually on partner with another women organization for women in the boardroom. And what we talked about again is like personal brand. And so again, in that context with women in the boardroom, again, it's about what are the signals? People in the boardroom are trying to read discernment, credibility, and capacity to lead. Well, how that shows up visually, discernment will show up visually. What are you emphasizing and what are you restraining, right? Credibility shows up with how is your wardrobe consistent and stable because that reads reliable. And here is the thing, this is why it depends on the person. My credibility and my wardrobe where I show cohesion is I am into jewel tones and neutrals. So if you look at my Instagram or anywhere I am publicly, you will say, okay, I know what to expect from her. She seems like a stable person because I'm subtly sending that cue. But you might not wear jewel tones, so that might be different for you. I've had clients, my one client, her consistent piece, her eyewear. It is bold and it is different. So that
Mm.
really does have to deal with the identity and the lifestyle and again what you decide to emphasize and restrain. So yeah, I wanted to give that example to show why that is not it's not cookie cutter for every single person.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, going back to getting to know you a little bit better, now that we're clear on what you do, can you tell me and our listeners what has been the biggest challenge thus far in your life or career? And what did you do to overcome it? Or what
Oh
are
my
you
goodness.
still overcoming?
What am I still this is a great question. I'm trying to think in my life. I've had so many challenges. That's why I'm like, I don't even really know which one to pick, right? Well, actually, so because of how I was raised, go to college, get the good job, the things that I was told. The hardest thing that I had to do was kind of ignore that advice because going back to me being the oldest and setting the example. And so,
Yeah.
again, I have styled women for so long on the side. Like I did it through, I don't know if people have heard of Cabby Clothing, and then I did it myself. And it was just always on the side because I did not think it was a viable path. And so it was really hard for me to transition to fully owning and being that entrepreneur because I was
Yeah, and
so used
saying
to
this
the
is my
advice.
main money maker. This is what
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, so that I mean, that was really and it's still hard, because you get conditioned,
Of
to
course,
believe
yeah,
it,
and I could
so
relate. I could
yeah,
relate. I think we're all told that's like the message. Okay, be a good student, go to college, get your degree, get a
right,
corporate job, climb the ladder, have the
yeah,
titles. That's what people want from you.
and then you
But that
realize you're still not
is not
happy.
for everyone.
And
Yeah.
you weren't happy. So I think like what I want people to walk away with is whatever you decide to do in life, just make sure it makes you happy because whatever makes you happy, you get monetized.
Yeah, it's honestly, yeah, that's a very simple way of putting it, but I absolutely agree. If
Yeah.
you do what you love, that's kind of what it translates into being able to make money with it because you're just going to do it 24/7. You're not going to feel like it's work. You're not going to
Yeah.
feel like you're dreading it, and you're going to be more productive just because you do feel like doing it and you're going to do more for it. And that's how you're going to make more money. It's not just simple, hey, I love doing this. I'm just gonna make money out of nowhere. No, it's because
No,
if you
no,
love what you're doing, you're gonna put more work into it.
and you'll stick with it, right? Because I'm sure you can
Yeah,
relate to this. As an entrepreneur, it's not, especially like a job, that check comes when that check comes, and the entrepreneur journey is different.
yeah,
And if you love it, you stick with it.
yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. You're right.
Yeah.
All right, so next question. If you had a magic wand, first thing that comes to mind, what would you change in the world? Doesn't have to be like world peace, because we all want
I'm
that.
not gonna
Whatever
I'm
first
definitely
thing.
not gonna say world peace. I mean, of course I do want world peace, though. I don't want people, oh my gosh, I don't want people to think I don't want world peace. But if I had a magic wand and could change one thing in the world, what would it be? I would say, especially, I mean, and this can apply to everyone. What I would love to change in the world is people believing in themselves because I know again, and the reason why I'm relating to this is the question you just asked me. So this is probably like recency bias. But I know that a lot of people doubt themselves on their journey and it will allow them to quit and not push through. And so I feel like if I had a magic wand, I would want people to continually bet on themselves every single day, and
I
that will
love
allow them
that.
to push through. So it might be recency bias because of what you just asked me, but
But
that's
that's
coming up.
beautiful. Yeah, I think it will create a happier world with just that
Yeah,
alone. If people are,
absolutely,
believe in themselves and do what they love,
absolutely.
it will
Yes.
create a happier world.
And it's so funny you said don't say world. I'm thinking like world peace. I'm like duty pageant, of course, world peace, right? No.
Yes, I always say that. Don't tell me world peace because we
Yes,
all want that,
yes,
obviously, right? So
obvious, 1000%. Yes,
that's a given. But besides that, if we hopefully will achieve that one day.
yes, we are praying. Yes.
Yeah. All right, next question. Do you remember the moment where you made like a significant amount of money the first time doing what you do today? And how did that feel? Do you have a story for us or you don't remember it happened slowly?
Of course, it happens slowly over time, right? And then you're like, "Oh, there's a lot in my bank account." But no, when you get the first check and you're like, there were a couple of things. I was 1000% excited. So let's act like I wasn't.
Yeah,
Of course, I was. But then you also realize too that oh, wait, but it's not as much as you think, because of course you have
yeah.
to reinvest it, right, in your uh business and
Like, oh, I
marketing.
gotta pay the bills with this now.
Well, also one thing that I do now is do find a way to reward myself. I've always struggled with that just because I was taught to like produce, keep going. And then I
Mm.
realized that I really needed to. What is something I've always wanted to do? Let me put some aside for that.
So why is rewarding yourself a important strategy for your success?
Well, I mean, it's important because I mean that positive reinforcement is real, and then there will be a lot of lows. Like people see the highs, but there are so many lows, and so when you are in those low points, you can remember that reward that you gave to yourself. That's why it's important to me, and it reminds you that you deserve the success. Right? Like you deserve the wins, even if, because people didn't see you when you were doing those small, consistent daily practices
Yeah.
to get to those huge wins.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much. All right. So what is the top 3 business advice you would give to our listeners based on your experience and starting and running Iconics with Style?
So the first advice that I will give is do at least one thing a day to push your business forward. That's one. The second thing I will say is dress like the woman you're becoming, not the one who survived through it, because your wardrobe is the first piece of physical evidence that you're moving in the correct direction. And then the third piece of advice, find like minded people to support yourself with. So when you go through the highs and the lows, you have other people who also understand them.
I love that. I love that a lot actually. Community's huge. We need good people around us. Get rid of the bad people.
It takes a village. I really believe it takes a village. It does to be successful.
How about your top advice in life just to be happy and fulfilled?
The worst thing they can say is no. And that's so just ask the question. And that is something that I learned from my grandfather. And you know what? He hates that he told me that advice because I was like,
You kept on asking him.
yeah. So I would say that's one. And my second life advice is really huge on open and honest communication because I believe that we all come from different backgrounds. We all come from being raised differently, which means we have different perceptions. And so open and honest communication can also bridge gaps because
I love that.
like what we talked about, our images, we make judgments, right? And so,
Yeah.
especially if it's not saying the right thing, so let's have that open and honest communication. And then the third thing is just never give up. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Honestly, being open, honest communication. I just want to kind of add to that because I found that to be the most important skill for me as like a
Mm,
leader or a manager of employees
yeah.
because like you said we all are different, we come from different backgrounds, we perceive things differently.
Mm,
So anytime we are hurt or we think somebody's trying to hurt us, it might not even be intentional. And we as humans, if we do talk things out most of the time, maybe not 100% of the time because there are some interesting people out there,
yeah.
but most of the time we do find compassion and understanding if we do open and honest communication. And the person in front of you might explain themselves, hey, when I said this, I didn't mean anything negative towards you. It was because X, Y, and Z. Then, hey, everybody's happy. Now we can get along instead of, holding grudges or envy and anger towards each other. So I'm very happy you brought that up, because that is a really important life
I
skill
mean,
in
it's huge.
family life, work life, friendship, all of that.
All life. And I think, going back to like if I had another piece of advice, like on my website, I highlight my core values, open and honest communication being one of them. And it's just a necessity in my field because, again, like I have to be honest with people about, I know you may be loving this. Let's look at this another way. Right. And also, I expect that feedback back. If you're like, Bria, I hate this, I need you to tell me you hate it. Yeah. And so we can find some common ground. So it's huge in my client relationships, huge.
Okay, so for fun, what was your first impression of my image when you first saw me on this podcast, or if you saw me online before?
Well,
Open and honest, just for fun. What was your first thought?
I knew we were gonna have a good time. I could tell you that. I did. I knew we were gonna have a good time, and I just felt like we were going to relate too. Because one, you look so put together. I love it in a hoodie. I don't look that put together in a hoodie. Okay, I got to do some
Thank you.
extra work. But when I first saw you, and I also got a confidence from you as well too. And so that was like kind of just my first impression of you hopping on. So I knew we were gonna have a good time, and you also did come off confident too. That's what I read from you. Which goes back to, let me go back to the original question you had asked me. If you want to be confident and go to a meeting, what do you wear? You are proving that, hey, right? It just, there's a combination of signals that you're sending. Part of it is, not only are you fully put together as far as like your face is done, but also your accessories. And when people wear accessories, what that signals to me is that you care about completeness of a look and attention to detail.
No, I never
Those
even
are
thought about that.
those are signals that I got from you when I first saw you. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, that was just for fun.
Yeah. Yeah. What about me? You got to do me now.
Same. I mean, you look very put together, but in a simple, confident, like authentic way, like effortless way where we're okay, I'm ready to have a
Yeah.
conversation and be genuine about it.
Yes. I'm glad that that is the vibe that I'm giving off. I'm also kind of sweaty too. I have this fan here. I'm like, "Whoo," I'm glaring because I'm sweating so bad. You see my face.
I can't tell. It just looks like you're glowing, honestly, with flawless skin and a beautiful smile for our listeners
Thank you.
who's not watching. I think the smile has a lot to do with how we come off to. So
Yes, thank you.
all right, Brie, it's been a pleasure speaking with you and getting to know you and what you do. For our listeners, can you give us your last word of advice and encouragement? And also, where can they find you and connect with you and your business?
Yes, absolutely. So I've been saying this often, and I believe, and I probably said it earlier, but I want to say it again just in case it was missed. So, your image is communicating a message. Let's make sure it's communicating the right thing, the thing that you intend for it to communicate. And I will also do another one because I've been saying this as well too. The woman you are
Summarize it all.
I have so many. I'm like, I have so many things I want to tell you. The woman you are becoming does have a look. So don't dress like the one who was surviving because you deserve to be received who you are now, not necessarily who you had to be to get there. And so if this resonated with you, or if you're feeling a gap from what you are evolving into internally and what you're presenting externally, you can find me on Instagram at Iconic with Style. You can also find me on LinkedIn at Bria Johnson. And then my website is iconicwithstyle.com.
Beautiful. And I will link all of that below and everywhere. So thank you again, Bria, for showing up today, having a great conversation, inspiring our listeners, and sharing your advice on style. And until next time, to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. And it's always a pleasure. Bye.
So much fun. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Please rate and review this podcast. Follow and engage with us on social media under the Yegi Project. And if you're interested in being a guest, email info@theyegiproject.com, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes.